I get what's behind, he's the reason for the season thing, and that Jesus Christ is, Christians are upset because there's an idea that they're trying to take Jesus out of the holidays, trying to take Jesus' birth out of Christmas and make Christmas become less Christianized, I guess. And so, of course, they're upset because, Christmas is like that's the big deal. That's like Jesus' birth, right? So I understand that, but what I guess I don't understand is that on the other side, I don't understand because you don't know that. You know what I mean? It's like you're upset because there's a watering down of Christmas, or there's a removal of Jesus from being the center point, and that, God forbid that we be representative of all people of all kinds, Kwanzaa, the Jews with Hanukkah, or just people that don't celebrate or Christmas, or that don't believe, that Jesus is, a real historical figure. Like I said, heaven forbid, we actually kind of have a practice that's not, that doesn't embrace Christianity's beliefs. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But again, Christians are like, well, they're trying to take Jesus out of the holiday, and to each his own, right? We all, some people believe, some people don't. But my point is this, though. We don't know any of the stuff that they believe. Any of their beliefs, we don't know that they're true. You say, well, you don't know that they're not. It seems to me that it's less likely that on December 25th of whatever year, a little baby Jesus was born in a manger. That's just a narrative that's told in a gospel, a couple gospels, that we're then supposed to just believe with line and sinker and just say, oh yes, absolutely, this is a historical event, and never mind the unbelievableness of it. But anyhow, we can't verify that this is a historical event, so why should we embrace it entirely? We don't know that his birthday was even December 25th. That's just the day. And so that when you discover and delve into it deeper, you find out why it is that December 25th was selected as the birth date of Jesus. And as it turns out, it was because within the pagan world, that the winter solstice begins on this. I think it begins on the 25th of December. And there were other rising and dying gods, or other myths and legends who also shared that. So you can see, when people had said, well, the thing you say about Jesus, we've been saying this about all of our other gods as well. So it's more of a marketing ploy or tactic, I think, to sell the pagans on Christianity, because it was not really that unlike the things that they were suggesting. Virgin birth, it was thing after thing after thing that where Jesus Christ has in common. So like I was saying in another video, many people think that the Jesus story is very unique, and the attributes attributed to Jesus' stories are exclusive to him. They're not. When you go and you research, you find out, and I wasn't savvy, in my days of Christianity, wasn't aware, and met folks that were far more scholarly and more knowledgeable to explain to me that things in times of antiquity, back in the days, this is what was beliefs that were held. These were legends. These were, these were myths. So why are we to believe that Jesus is birthed on December 25th is any more than a myth? Why are we not to believe that? I think we are. I think it makes good sense to see it for what it is, see the cloth that it's cut from, and say, you know what? He probably wasn't born. And not only that, he probably never even existed. But I know that's going too far for many people, and they're just like, oh, I can't go that far to suggest that, my precious Jesus didn't exist. No, he very well may have, but I think that what's more indicative is that it's a myth, it's a legend, it's made up. There could have been a real man named Jesus, but I don't know that there wasn't. But anyhow, are people trying to take, the Christian holiday, the Christian version of Christmas and everything, are they trying to take that away from Christians? No. It's just that we want to be reflective of our society, what's out there. And it's not, you can't, I don't say you can't, But it doesn't make sense. It makes sense to have holidays and establish, holidays and have them not be solely based upon one particular group's beliefs. And I think that's one of the big reasons, the driving force behind that. And people get offended. Sometimes they say, when you don't say Merry Christmas, you say Happy Holidays. Maybe they don't celebrate Christmas. So it's like, I don't care. It's Happy Holidays, it's Merry Christmas, whatever. But like I said, I know this is kind of out of season that we're in the spring, maybe months after Christmas. This would have been a great video for around the holidays. But anyhow, you can't never know when, inspiration is going to strike, right? So, it's just, Jesus is the reason for the season. To you, the Christian, and you don't even know if the man really exists or not. It's just your faith and your belief that, saying that you and you alone hold. And yeah, sure, maybe there's countless of other millions of Christians across the globe, but there are a lot of Muslims. There are a lot of Jews. There's a lot of other, non-religious folks. So why should, it's not like Christians have ownership of Christmas. You know what I mean? It's not like they exclusively own it, the rights to it or something like that. It's, I get it. I get that its origins go back a long time, and that, this was, December 25th is the day, that the Lord Jesus Christ was born, and I get that. And I understand how special and precious that means to these people. But what they don't understand is, I guess, what is their belief made up of? Is it based on fact? Is it based on historical fact? Can you go back and prove that, not to mention the fact, does it even make any sense that he was born supposedly in December and the shepherds were tending their flock of sheep in December? And is that the time when we would expect to find shepherds? No, actually it's not. So, there's issues with the nativity story. There are issues with it. And issues with, why it is he was born in Bethlehem, but supposedly he was from Nazareth, right? Because he was a Nazarene, but yet, okay, well, how does this all play out the timeline? And so there's issues with the New Testament gospel accounts of the nativity story, and just trying to figure out what's really going on here. So my point is just this: we don't know that the Jesus nativity story is true. We don't know that. We don't know. So we don't know that but it seems far more likely, or less likely, that it is true. But when you look at all the criticisms surrounding, Christmas and the birth of Jesus and the three magi and the star and this and that, and it's makes for a very nice story to tell children. But beyond that, I don't think that we're dealing with any kind of historical event that actually took place. Now I know Christian apologists and Christian theologians and other believers will debate that with me and say, oh well, this, and have their reasons for why they believe it can in fact be asserted that it was a historical event, or that it was highly probable that it was. I think there's a counter argument to their version of it, and that one is more compelling, and that one leads you to believe that this is probably less likely to be true. So, is Jesus the reason for the season? No, probably not. Once you understand the history behind it, once you understand how it came to be, how the Christian holiday, how it was the idea of Jesus Christ and him being born then, and that being established. You can research it for yourself and find what I'm saying to be true, and you'll get the background to it. But I'm just saying it's not like it's an actual verifiable historical event that, because it appears in the Bible and in the New Testament, that means we can trust it. It's absolute 100% factual story. It really did happen. I don't think that that's the case. I understand Christians want to assert that, but I don't believe that it can be corroborated. I don't believe that it's something that we can go back and say, can we fact check it with extra biblical sources? Can we find other evidence to support, yes, Jesus was in fact, no, well, we can't. Oh, okay, so then don't be offended if people just want to, not say remove Jesus from Christmas, but, it's just, we want to be reflective of all people. For all, whether they're religious or not religious, that this Christmas may may be about Santa Claus to some people. It may be about Jesus for others, and it's just. But we want to be able to have a holiday in which it's reflective of all people. And I get historically that it was a Christian holiday, and so I understand that. But times are changing. People are more knowledgeable now. They understand the world in a better way than they used to, and we realize that it's we want to have holidays that reflect all people, of all faiths, of all belief systems, of all religions. And I think that's the idea behind it, is to be more inclusive and less exclusive. And I guess Christians, that's one of the reasons they have such a problem with it, is because they want that exclusivity. They want ownership of the holiday of Christmas, and that's baby Jesus' birthday. And okay, well, first of all, you don't even know he was a historical figure. It's just a belief. You have faith that what you believe in the New Testament is the stories that you read about in the Gospels, that stuff actually happened. You can't really corroborate it. There's reason to doubt. So why get upset about it? Anyways, that's all I had. I just wanted to talk about, the idea that Jesus is the reason for the season. Well, maybe if he was an actual historical figure and actually could be corroborated, we can actually go back and say, yep, 100%. Then maybe you have an argument. But if you can't, then I don't really see what you're upset about, because you're not talking about someone that is a verifiable historical figure. See you next time.